Who can honestly
T
say
minus 30
they
seconds.
wouldn't want this to be their own?
T minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man,
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
exclusive. Oh,
So stop calling us.
Scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the scrub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up.
you are now tapped into the. Hold on, let me turn this down. You're now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. We are live and direct from the Ellis Art compound with Big Earl in the building. What's up, Big Earl? How you living, man?
Good, man. Living good.
Feels good, and it sounds good to be in this room. Freshly done, right?
Yes, very fresh. Last week, matter of fact.
How's everything going, though, man? How you living, first and foremost?
It's good. We're doing real good. I couldn't ask for a better life right now.
Now, I got to say, before we actually tap into things and really get into how things been going for you, Earl, I got to say this episode is brought to you by Brad Boa Reptiles. So shout out to Kevin and Brad over at Brad Boa Reptiles. Thank you so much for your support. And please go give them a follow on Instagram. Go down the link below. Check out their morph market. And yeah, I got to say, it feels good to be back in Texas. But more importantly, it feels good to be back in, or actually, no, my first time here at your place. I mean, a lot of people come to your place when it comes to visiting NARBC shows or just visiting Texas in general. Everyone likes to come by Earl's house.
And we get a lot of visitors throughout the year, man, from all over the world, actually. I've had people here from Germany, the UK. It's not just for the shows. They come over here just to visit. So it's pretty cool. You know, we never sought out to be famous or anything. I mean, I still ain't famous as far as I'm concerned. But, you know, I know there's a lot of people that talk about, you know, Billy talks about coming here all the time, you know, tells everybody if they're in Arlington to come here. And it's cool. We love having the people. We love what we do. We did this for everybody to see. But more importantly, for me to sit in here and play.
Now, I mean, speaking of just, you know, hanging out and whatnot, we just got done doing an awesome vlog here at your place. And if it's one thing that I couldn't stop thinking about is how, you know, one thing you told me is that you've been in the game as far as breeding ball pythons for over 20 years, right?
Yes, sir.
If it's one thing that's inspiring you right now, it's kind of doing things that challenge you more. And it's not like breeding ball pythons is like for dummies, even though it kind of is. But I mean, let's be real. You want more out of what you have going on. Am I right?
Well, I mean, the ball pythons are basically our livelihood,
Foundation for sure.
kind of, so to speak. But yeah, I wanted some animals that not everybody works with, like the sailfin dragons and the red-eyed Crocs skinks. You know, the frilled dragons, everybody loves those. It's a little harder to get the Australians. That one was actually bought at an auction at Tinley. We were walking out the door. I was done with the auction. They said something about a frilled dragon. I said Aussie or Indo, and they said Aussie, and I just raised my hand until I won.
Because that was the big one.
You know, it's one of them deals, and now I can't find a female to go with him. But eventually we'll find one, and we don't care if they breed. We're not trying to make money off of these. These are our pets.
Right.
You know, the red-eyed Croc skinks, we did something this year that everybody told me I couldn't do. And when you tell me I can't do something, we're trying it. And so we've been keeping pairs of red eyes for years. And for about the last year, I've been talking about colonizing them. And everybody said it couldn't be done. They'd kill each other. Well, I got news for you. I got 16 of them in one cage, and they're doing absolutely incredible. We have actually seen more of them in the last 3 weeks than we have ever seen them when they were paired up. They come out and play every night. It's amazing.
Who influenced that? Did you have any influence behind that?
I did have a little influence. I had somebody pushing me to go ahead and do it. I had been talking to Ryan McVeigh for about a year about this. And Ryan finally told me, he said, just pull the trigger and do it. So we built all these major enclosures, and here we are.
I mean, if it's one thing that I couldn't help but to, like, you know, I love so many things that Ryan does, you know, but the latest thing I feel like he's behind is his VivTech product, right? And I had used UBV bulbs before. And I'm just not a pitch or anything, you know, VivTech's not even a sponsor, but I'm saying ever since I switched my monitor bulbs to VivTech bulbs, they are like noticeably just underneath those bulbs a lot. They enjoy it. And I'm not going to fight. I'm not, like I said, I'm not standing here to pitch anything. Like, I'm just telling you what it is. You know what I'm saying? So that right there, I take note of that.
Yeah.
And so kudos to Ryan. And that's
Ryan talked me into the bulbs for the red eyes that don't even need it, but we're offering it to every animal. Any of our big enclosures, they're going to have the VivTech bulbs in them, if they need it or not. We'll always offer it because it can't hurt them. So yeah, a big shout out to him from me, because I mean he's been a big part of this, and I love Ryan to death.
Now, I want to know from you, Earl, because there's been so many people to this day, but I feel like these people, even when they were making money, never like to say that there was money to be made in the ball python game. When did you start seeing that you were making money off breeding ball pythons or almost any snake?
Really and truly, I mean, for those of you that don't know, I started in venomous, and you know, venomous is never really, there's some money there, but it's never been all that. The ball pythons, when I first got into it, it was like I was doing it for myself.
Right.
And the next thing you know, I started making all these babies. I couldn't keep them all, so I'd sell off a few here and there. And at about 7 years, I started making, you know, a pretty decent income off it. And it never started out that, and it's still, I don't do it for the money, but naturally we have to feed these animals. I pay $1,100 a week to feed my animals. So I don't breed my own rodents. I breed some, but not enough to, you know, feed my whole collection. So in about 7 years, I started making a decent income. I retired from working last year. I was in the oil field. And so it's been a year and 2 days now, and I've been doing nothing but this. And I tell you, man, it's a happy life. Yeah. It's a lot happier now. Now, I will say this. I retired. That didn't mean I quit working.
Right.
Because I work more here than I ever did at work.
It's a different kind of work. You know,
Yes.
it's something to where there's no clocking in and out at this point. Like
And I get up every morning excited to come in and play with these animals.
Right.
You know, I come in and maintain these cages, even though they're pretty much self-maintained. I clean them every morning, and you know.
Yeah, but the way they are now, I mean, clearly, like, water spots happen. So many things can make these cages look not how they look. So for them to look this clean, which you guys will check out in the vlog, make sure you go follow or subscribe to my YouTube channel, the Snake Trap Session Vlogs. I'm dropping a Snake Eyes vlog here at Earl's place, and you guys will see how clean everything looks. And this is something that just has to be daily done. Like, you know,
I didn't wipe these down today at all.
Right.
This is, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I did not wipe these down today. So, I mean, they stay this clean though.
So let me ask you this. You know, you said that you started in venomous, right? Were there things that were going on in the reptile game that made you feel like, okay, maybe venomous shouldn't be the prime thing that I should do?
No.
Like, what was it like?
It was, I saw a pied. I saw a pied ball python, and I was like, holy crap, what is this? And so I went looking for one, and at the time, the nominal they were like 15 grand. And I was like, oh, I can do that. So I found somebody to sell me some heads, and of course they weren't heads. But by the time I figured that out, it was way too late. And so I bought one eventually, and then it snowballed, man. Once I got into pieds, then I started working with clowns, and it's just been amazing ride. All the different animals we've produced over the years, and we started importing early. I imported my LSR fire line out of Africa. That was like the stepping stone for us.
And that was when?
That was in 2009.
I'm not gonna lie, you did bust out. I think it was just a fire LSR clown. And I can't say I haven't seen fire quality clown at that level. I've seen some high quality stuff, but then you whipped it out with some other genes that just made the snake go white. And it was like, wow, okay, that was kind of like, that was kind of what I needed to see to see what you saw. You know what I'm saying? But I'm curious, I mean, it's one thing about this ball python game where, some people don't want you to have that, if that's the case. If you have something new, that's the fucking, some people, instead of being happy for you, are going to be really upset, right?
Oh, we've had a lot of haters over the years.
But that's natural.
But I mean, here's the deal. If you don't have haters,
You're not
have
doing it right.
fans.
You're not doing it right. Yeah.
So-
If you're not making noise, either good or bad, then there's nothing you're doing that's even worth talking about.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like, dude, one thing I want to talk about right now, just because it's punching me in the fucking brain, is the fact that you got into this not being able to afford a visual pied, which I feel like a lot of people, as much as there's like all these fucking people who come in here dump money, it's not really the real case for a lot of people. A lot of people are coming in here working hard 9 to 5, and they're on a budget. They can't fucking afford the visual. So what got me to where I'm at, even producing visuals to this day, are heads. I'm a big believer in heads, right? But my story, or what my point right now, is how you're coming into this game with a huge goal of hitting a visual through heads, and you got fucked over and they weren't real heads. A lot of people don't know how to take that blow and continue forward. Like, if you notice, a lot of people either get a sick snake in the mail or something, they fucking blow it up and they act like it's the end of the world.
And let me tell you another little story. That's a small blow. So, boy, I bought my very first banana for $10,000. They were about $17,000 at the time. I'm not going to mention names, but somebody gave me a really good deal at $10,000. I get the snake in, it's sick. I didn't know any better. I was early on. It was my second year, third year in. And I lost my whole collection.
You gotta say the name on this podcast. You got.
I can't say this name.
What does it rhyme with?
And I won't say it.
How many syllables?
I've never put that guy's name out there. But
Okay.
anyway,
does it rhyme with prehistoric death? Just kidding. We'll move forward.
So I lost my whole collection, and because I tried to save that animal. I took it to the vet, I did everything, and I lost my whole collection over it.
And communicating with this guy the whole time, right? As far as when this happened?
No, that communication was dumped immediately.
So cut off.
Yep. So I reached out to a very good friend of mine, Mike Wilbanks.
Shout out to Mike Wilbanks.
He helped me get back into it. I never went after this guy. I took my blows and I used it as a learning curve, and I moved on.
Like a man.
And fast forward 18 years, and this is where we're at. So, the biggest thing is, I tell people all the time, and I know it sounds terrible, but be careful who you trust in this industry. There's a lot of people out there that are big names that'll screw you right and left.
Because they're a big name.
Exactly.
Because they'll do it like, what are you going to do? Who's going to believe you?
Exactly.
And no one gives a shit what you have to say. But that can only go so far, too, which we could talk about later. But, go ahead and continue, Earl.
So I pushed through it, and, I wanted to make sure that guy didn't get to me. And I've seen him at shows here and there, and cordial. I'll, if the man talks to me, I'll talk to him. We're not going to be buddies. But
go your way, I'll go my way.
It is what it is. But people need to understand there's people like that out there, and it's still happening today. It's not like it just went away. That being said, the other part of what I had problems with early on was nobody wanted to talk to me. I would call people and ask questions, and then, well, you haven't bought a snake for me. I'm not going to talk to you.
What era was this? Can we talk about like what year around the time frame?
20 years ago.
Okay. So okay.
But it's still happening today.
No, that happened, dude. I came in. Listen, Earl. I came in 2016, And here's the thing, like Earl. If this was like an in-person type thing, a lot of people wouldn't be disrespecting you the way they did. You know what I mean? It would be a lot different. So a lot of people get comfortable kind of shining you, making you feel little when it comes to being over the phone, because they might even believe in you. I mean, who the fuck are you going to be ever be? So fuck you. And, I latch on to people, no matter where I go in this game. People like Miguel has always believed in me, and to the point where I got fucked over. Not some people didn't want to talk to me, that Miguel did. So I was like, well, fuck all you guys. And all you guys are sucking Miguel's dick, and Miguel's my homie. So I don't give a fuck. That's how you want to play it. That's how you want to play it. Miguel is always taking care of me. So you have to be careful your mentorship is. You don't need to be Mr. Likeable. I mean, here's the thing. Miguel is naturally likable. Like everyone loves Miguel. I feel like he doesn't have to try too hard for you to like him. But there's other people who they try way too hard to be likable. And it's like coming off to where like, dude, like fucking whoa. You know what I'm saying? Like just you don't have to be liked by everyone.
Well,
it's gonna attract the wrong people to you.
So YouTube was like one of the only thing I really had, and it was later on. I mean, we had forums and we had stuff. But to get a person's phone number, that didn't happen 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And
that's crazy to even think about.
That's true. And now, a lot of those people that wouldn't so we called over 300 people that we found online here and there, whatever. We email or, text or not text, but whatever, however we could reach out to people. And 30 people let us in out of those 300. That's 10%. And to this day, I hear that over and over and over and over. Now, a lot of those people that didn't let us in back then, they're calling us.
Well, that's how it works.
But we gained the respect in this industry, over time. How do they put it? We paid our dues. I mean,
I think more than some, because now a lot of people have social media. It's way easier now.
Well, I guarantee it.
Yeah,
Guarantee it.
And what's another thing for a lot of people to real big pill for a lot of people who've been in this game for a long time, for them to swallow, is how someone could dump money into something that they really love, and then all of a sudden have 40,000 followers overnight. Not overnight, but even over a year of just one production.
Well, you mentioned McGill. McGill was one that a lot of people had a hard time with early on.
He was definitely a good example of that.
He spent millions of dollars building his collection. Right. And, he made it back right away. But people don't understand is it takes money to make money. If you spend $10,000, it's going to take you a lot longer to make that $10,000 back. If you spend $1 million, you've got the right animals to make that $1 million quick. And people didn't understand that. And I remember at Tinley, I guess it was around 2017, 2018. There was somebody cornered him and said, "Hey, I don't believe in the way you come up and all that." And McGill's response was, "I respect every one of you guys." Yeah. He said, "If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be where I'm at." Right. Dude, I gained a lot of respect for that man, the way he handled that. Yeah. Because he didn't do anything wrong. He just had money where these other people didn't. And jealousy is one of the biggest problems in this industry. Yeah. I see it all the time.
So one of my biggest strengths in some senses, like I cannot just keep my feelings like fake. You know what I'm saying? Like the one thing about Miguel is like, that situation, he was able to keep his composure, and because he's a fucking businessman. Like I'm not going to do anything stupid to tarnish the AEP brand. He's so smart. Me, when I first met Miguel, I would have shit all over my brand. I would have and Miguel saw that in me, but I saw how much I wanted to be like Miguel. And as much as it pisses me off how he he let everyone know that he liked him, even though I know he doesn't, you know what I'm saying? I got to take a page out of that book, because at the end of the day, you can't share your feelings with everybody because they use that against you. Like, I'm sure a lot of people think they have one up on me because they know I'm a fucking hothead. Like I will go there with you if you want, but now, it's all those wars as far as how to pick them and whatnot is so important. You know what I mean?
But you know what? All that hothead shit is right here.
Oh, it's all there. Yeah.
You take care of that.
Yeah, it's 100%. No, it's been, listen, from anyone who's seen me from when I came into this game 2016, I've come a long, long ways. And because of people who I keep in my circle, you know what I mean? I don't hang out with hotheads, obviously. I am the hothead of my circle. You know what I mean? But I'm also definitely not the smartest in my circle. I make sure that I don't want to be the smartest in my circle, because ever since I've humbled myself, I saw growth, you know what I mean? But it's easy to fuck that all up too, and that's by letting any shithead get to you. But I feel like anyone who doesn't let anybody break their character is and the thing is, I don't have a character. I am who I am. Like You know what I mean? And Miguel always has made this shit for business professional to where you can't help but to like him. I don't care what the fuck what you say. You gotta like Miguel. He's awesome.
You know, when McGill was here, I don't know, was it 2000? I don't even know when it was. 18. I think it was maybe.
Yeah, I remember 2018 when he used to come to shows.
Yeah.
What a time.
Miguel told me, he said, man, he said, the one thing I like about you is you're not fake. He said, you are who you are. Dude, I used to watch these videos, and I'd watch these people going way above, you know, trying to make people like them. And I don't have a huge following on my channel, and I never cared about that. You know, I was putting information out there to try to help the guys coming up because nobody helped me. And I had one person that I could look up to, and that was Brian Gundy, man. And I'm going to tell you
wow, what an OG.
Oh, my
Shout out to
goodness.
Brian Gundy.
Dude, he's 2,000 miles away.
California
I
is
could
where
call him at
I'm
any
at, yeah.
time. And, dude, he'd talk to me all night if he needed to, you know? And every time I had a problem, if it was a breeding issue, you know, whatever, I call him up, boom, it's done. And he gave me pointers, right? But that's all I had. And so he put his phone number out there on every video.
Dude, it's on his profile. Like
Hey.
I've never seen that before. I'm like, this guy is so hardcore. Like he wants to help anyone learn. Like it's
Hey, so for my very
oh
first
my
video,
god, he's so
Brian-
ahead.
Brian pushed me to do videos. And I was like, dude, okay. So I did a video and I listened to it. Dude, I am a country bumpkin, dude. I sound like shit. All right. I'm a hick. And I was like, there's no way I'm releasing that shit. All right. So I did videos for almost 4 years and never released one. And so Brian calls me one day. He goes, hey, when are you going to start releasing videos? I said, I can't release this shit. I sound like a hick. He goes, just release it, dude.
Bill Siegel, what up with some of that decoy when you get a chance? By the way, Bill Siegel in the building in the background, ladies and gentlemen. We have Bill Siegel, the mayor of Condro Town.
I'll think about it.
No, he's going to bring me one for sure, 110%. Way to embarrass me, Phil. What a
So
guy.
I finally released one, and everybody's like, oh my God,
What the fuck? Where'd that come from?
that's the soap in the bathroom.
Let me see that. Oh, wait, I can't even put that on camera.
Yes, you can.
No, it's YouTube.
Sure.
If anyone saw that.
That's compliments.
No, it's fun. That's some Robin Markman. You know Robin Markman, right? Redline Shipping. There's a big thing with an octopus-shaped dildo with him, and it's like a weird thing. Anyways, that just reminded me of it.
So that's
Wild times in
That's
Texas.
compliments of the dick chick. Yeah, she did
Yo.
she did all my Jello shots for the show last year, and I'm sure there's going to be some this year. My booth, come by if you want to do a Jello shot. I don't know what's there. It's not my.
Wait, you're gonna have a booth?
Yeah.
But you don't vend, I thought.
No, I'll have T-shirts and hats and stuff like that. We don't vend. We don't ever sell animals at shows.
Ooh, let's type into that because listen, Earl, if it's one thing I hope I could do someday is vend, but because of what you just said, I don't think I'm able to. I don't like bringing animals around to things that will really, let's talk about it.
Okay, so right now I think we're starting to see a change in what's going to start happening at these shows. For those of you that don't know, they just announced that you have to have health certificates for all your animals going into Illinois. I think that's a really good thing. I have been to too many shows where I've seen respiratory infections on tables, mites everywhere. And it's like, dude, somebody has to start policing this stuff.
Well, I don't want to say at Tinley, but definitely stories at shows of snakes being straight up dead.
Yeah.
Like just dead in the display. Which is fucking,
In
that's not good.
In all honesty, I haven't seen a lot of snakes at Tinley because, Tinley's so packed, I don't even get to see many animals. But I've never seen it there. I have seen mites at several shows. I've seen respiratory infections at shows. And it's sad.
Shed eye caps are like
Oh.
fucking goddamn. Like that's one thing I'm like, I wish I had the time to just take it off for him, but I ain't gonna touch that.
But the thing about it is that's understandable to an extent. If they just shed or something at the show, but they should be paying attention to that.
But Earl, there's a difference of something that just shed to okay, that shed's like 3 years, like that's 3 sheds ago. You know what I'm saying? And that's the one that's like a yellow discolored type skin.
Yeah.
Like you could just tell, and I don't know.
Me and my wife walked in a show in, I believe it was Houston one time, and the very first table I walked up to, there was 3 snakes that were foaming at the mouth, and there's mites crawling all over the table. And I
I
turned
don't wanna be
around,
around that, bro.
I went back outside and I said, I want my money back, and they wouldn't give it to me. I said, that's fine. And I said, would you like me to call the health department in here? I said, because I'm sure we got some health issues going on in here.
Wow.
And so they gave me my money back and I left. But dude, I don't want to be around that. And I don't want my animals subject to that. And the problem is, I may not be anywhere close to any of that at the show, but you're walking around handling every single animal. And then you get to my table,
My man.
and there it
Thanks,
is. And I'm over it. And so we don't vend at shows. We pretty much strictly use my website. And I've used Morph Market in the past. We're going to start using Morph Market again. John's a good friend of mine, and I think that's probably one of the best things that's happened in this industry in years, because now we have actually a stability to the market. Whereas before, well, I think this snake's worth $1,000, and this guy's selling it for $200. Where's the happy medium? So now we kind of have a platform to go off of pricing our animals, and it's made it more stability. So, especially for the newer people coming in, if you're not selling $20,000-$30,000 animals, you're out there selling say a $200 or $300 animal. Well, now you have a market where those can be sold really easy. So, but yeah, we do the shows. We typically do Arlington and Tinley. I think we're going to do. I think we're going to go ahead and do the St. Louis show this year. But we just set up our backdrop, and we have T-shirts available, hats. We have big photo cards, of all of our animals that we keep, including the porcupines and everything.
So I'm gonna. This is kind of a trip, Earl, because there's certain people, and whoever wants to hate on whoever, you can deny it all you want, but there's certain people who are just so ahead as far as what's to come, And what I mean by that, let's talk about Animal Con, right? Animal Con is strictly no animal sales. And I feel like if any event wants to become anything that's going to stay around nowadays, needs to be no animals.
Let me ask you this.
That's fucking nuts. Like, that's crazy to me.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever been to a dog show?
Yeah.
How many animals are for sale at a dog show?
No, it's all stupid.
Have you ever been to a horse show?
All for show.
There you go.
And you know what's crazy?
This started out that way.
Dude.
This started out that way, and it became a flea market.
When I became right, and that's the problem, because now there's just people who don't have the same standards, right? Yep. But another thing that stood out to me, I think it was 2020 when I very first started going to shows. I remember running into Kabelka, and we had a conversation, and I asked him about sales, and he was like, like his face was like, I'm not here for sales. Like, it's really just about to show what I have. And I'm sure there's sales going down. Don't get me wrong, but it's happening. Like, you know what I mean?
All his stuff is somewhere else.
I'm telling you, man. Right.
When you look at his table, everything says NFS on it.
Right. Like,
he's bringing animals out to show off what's available.
Yeah.
What he's doing, and that's kind of where we're at. I just don't bring the animals to the show because then I got to bring them home and quarantine them, and and if you take 200 or 300 animals out to the show, that's 200 or 300 animals that have to be quarantined coming in. I won't take them back into my room, period. So when I come home from a show, I won't even go in my room.
Right.
I'll take a shower before I even go in there. I mean, it's that bad.
What's crazy is I just I feel like there's a lot of protocols we could do to just make anything safer as far as for our animals. Like, just the most simplest thing, like even taking showers in between going from rooms, But I do feel like there's an over-sterilization problem as well. I feel like there are people out there who literally are fucking, I'm talking about, it's not a spot clean. It's fucking it's like over-sterilization. And by doing that, you're creating literally a bubble boy. And if anybody doesn't know what the story of the bubble boy is, or even the movie in the 90s, the bubble boy was a fucking kid whose mom was so paranoid, basically created a bubble, and he was like, he actually was always sick because he was never exposed to anything. And I had a crazy conversation, Earl, with somebody who I'm fucking working hard on bringing to the show. Highly respected female breeder out there. I don't remember to say her name. You guys could connect the dots. But she's just so, like, this whole Nido thing, right? Which been around for years. Like, this isn't something brand new to anything, right? A lot of people have been exposed to it collection-wise. A lot of people overcome it. Comes and it goes, right? But the thing is, going the route or the extreme to keeping your snake from being exposed to anything. You know what I'm saying? And dude,
I think that's a bad idea.
that's a real bad idea.
So,
By the way, I'm sorry. Shout out to the super chat. I want to say D. Ron in the building visual variant. I want to say he's been here before.
Yep.
He said met Earl at the last Arlington. He's definitely one of the good ones. Might not give you the hat off his head, but definitely the shirt off his back. Respect to the homie D. Ron. Hey guys, don't be shy with the super chats. Let's get the super chats cracking for the homie Earl right now. But thank you, Duran, for the super chat. But yeah, going back to what we were talking about here.
So, as far as cleaning goes, we use no chemicals whatsoever in our facility. I mean, none. I started out like everybody else, F10, all of it. Chlorhexidine. I use chlorhexidine to mop my floor. That's it. I won't spray it in my tubs. We use hot water and soap. We don't clean, scrub every tub every single time. There's no reason for it. Here's the thing: when you sell an animal to a brand new person, the first thing you tell them is take it home, let it acclimate for 7 days in its environment.
Right.
It's been in this little tub its whole life. Now you're changing it. So the people that call me and they say, I'm having a lot of problems with my animals eating. You know, they keep going on and off food. One of the first questions that I ask is, how are you cleaning your tubs? Well, I'm using F10 every single week. Well, you're sterilizing that tub and
Imagine
putting it in a brand new environment every single, but you're putting it in a brand new environment every week. All right. That's exactly what we're telling you to do. You know, when you take it home is leave it alone for 7 days. Well, you leave it alone and you try to feed it and they're going on and off food. You can walk out that room right now and feed any one of them snakes and they'll eat. I don't have problems with my snakes going off food. You know, we also don't feed big meals. The biggest rodent I feed is like weaned rats.
How often?
Every week. Every week.
Smaller, more often.
Smaller, more often. I've got one snake out there eats every day. I mean, she's a big female. Hey, if she wants to eat, I'm going to throw her right at her.
So let's kind of talk about progression as far as your success with breeding goes. Have you always had a high ratio with success rate when it comes to clutches? And if so, what do you dedicate that to? What do you think it is that has made you so successful at getting so many consistent clutches each year?
Consistency. Keeping everything consistent. You know,
as far as feeding goes and
feeding,
and
cleaning,
and all that. Do
you know,
you have temp drops? Do you do any of that stuff? Or
yeah, so we kill the racks. We kill the power of the racks altogether during the winter.
Yeah.
And then
during the winter,
yeah.
And then what about when you get an ovulation?
Keep the racks down.
Even during ovulation. So even girls that go sooner or whatever, you don't give them heat or anything.
No, they're all spread out through all the racks. So
where's what's the room at then?
82.
Okay.
Room does not fluctuate. If it's 12 degrees outside, the air conditioner's running that room.
Dude, listen, Earl,
nice.
I've had to fucking shut out so many of these goddamn Mythbuster, goddamn like one-on-ones that people tell you to do. Like for instance, feed your ball python, you know, the biggest meal you can, as much as you can, right? That was one once a week water changes. Another one was fucking the fact that oh my god, what was the other one I was getting to? It had to do with clutches. I don't fucking know.
If your water's dirty, clean it.
Oh, okay. The fact is, god damn, I had it on my head. I had it. Anyways, there's many out there, but definitely the water one was definitely something I held on to for a long time. Only because it didn't take me long to realize that a snake could simply go shit in its water 2 days after you change it. So what are you supposed to do? You know, it's funny. And I have a friend out there I love to death. And I remember going to his place, and I loved him a little less because he was showing me stuff. And he showed me one, and there was fucking shit in that water. And then after he showed me, he closed it up. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? He's like, oh, water changes are tomorrow. I'm like, fuck that, bro. You do that right now. I literally opened it back up. I was like, I got this. Like, there's no way you could do that. Like, that's terrible. You know what I mean?
Shit in the bowl's trash.
Terrible.
I don't rinse that bowl. It goes in the trash. So we used to wash every single bowl with soap and water every week. We rinse the bowls one time, and then they go in the trash. We don't breathe. Water bowls are cheap, man. You know,
dude,
now,
and they come cheap in so many different ways. You know,
now we used Crocs, and you know when we first started, I didn't always have nice racks. You know, and that's what people don't understand is you don't have to have Freedom Breeder or whatever. We started out in piece of shit plywood racks, dude, with mold-proof paint on them. And by the way, there's no such thing as mold-proof paint. They say it on the can, but it ain't. I had to rebuild racks every year. you know, and that's how we started. And when the snakes started making enough money to buy those Freedom Breeder racks, they bought those racks. I didn't take any money out of my pocket for that shit.
Right.
So, you know, but we proved you can do it in trash. I mean, because I had probably the trashiest racks I've ever seen in my life. There's pictures pop up on here.
Did you ever see my Home Depot racks?
No.
Bro, I had Home Depot racks that were like discolored. Like they were like you could tell they're like one was from like the early 2000s. Bro, and I made over 100 racks. I'm not joking. That's another thing I didn't listen to people about. Like, you know, you should get a Freedom Breeder rack. Or you should fucking, like, first off, your situation isn't Tyler's situation in New York, right? Like, what I got to say by that is Mr. fucking Tyler in New York probably has to worry about crazy weather conditions. He probably has to worry about shit where, yeah, maybe you should invest that kind of equipment if you're going to have high-end shit. I'm in California, dude. Like, my fucking shit's ambient. You know what I'm saying? If I could get away with making a cost-effective rack where I could fucking invest in animals, hets, you know what I'm saying? Which, another thing, like, when do people stop buying hets? Like, I feel like people don't want to buy hets now.
Dude,
like,
I sell a lot of heads.
I for some reason, I don't know if it's just me in particular, but a lot of people are fucking like, are like literally giving me the runaround wanting visuals. And I'm like, okay. And then sometimes they don't want the price of your visual. So it's like, you can't afford the price of the visual, motherfucker, then get the goddamn head. But, and story of morph market, I guess. I don't fucking know.
We're seeing more is people are buying the heads more here because they can't afford. You know, well, but again, we're working with mostly double, triples, and quads.
Yeah.
So
Sure, maybe that's what it is.
If you start hitting, double visuals and triple visuals,
that's a good point.
People can't really afford that stuff that are just starting out, and so we'll work them a deal on maybe a trio of triple heads, but gives them the option to get into something that's really really cool, at a budget price. What I've seen in this industry is you got a lot of people with a champagne appetite and a beer budget.
Yeah, fucking bougie ghetto. It's like, you know what I mean? You're complaining at a home count buffet. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? You know where you're at. And that's another thing too. It's like, that's, I don't know, man. Like, I'm very thankful that being loyal to my Instagram, and what I mean by that, like, there's people who will literally go to the extreme to post as many, nothing against posting reels, like do your thing if you want to gain followers, but the following thing is so in their head, like, I need followers, which at the end of the day, if you're posting shit, you're going to grow something organic no matter what. And the first year and a half of me selling snakes, I didn't have to use Morph Market. Everything was off Instagram. So, like, my followers are legit following me. Like, they're fucking right there, ready to rock and roll if I have something available. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's what other kind of following do you want out there if it's not organic?
Right now, like my reels and even my YouTube shorts, it's all on this stuff. It's not even on what I'm selling.
Right.
I'm not even.
By the way, you have that
for sale.
ASF fucking over how many fucking views?
1.7 million views.
I mean, and listen, I don't think people understand how crazy that is to have, because that's
the stupidest video I've ever seen.
But that's another thing. So I just have, shout out to Generation Z, the boys out there in Iowa. They literally gained 30,000 followers off of one fucking reel. One reel. You know what I'm saying? And they got like 8 million. And I was like, wow. And it was just them pulling eggs. Like, they were just pulling out a snake off of eggs. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it was funny because Kyle was in there doing some stupid stuff with his phone. And I told him, I said, hey, I got to clean this tub real fast. I said, if you want to shoot something, shoot this. And so I'm in there with a damn dustpan pulling out Betty. And we posted that reel, and I think it was 7 days later, it hit 10,000 views, and that was the first one I'd ever had to hit 10,000 views. And I was pretty excited. And then it just blew up. It hit 100,000 in 7 more days. And then in 7 days after that, it was over 1 million. I was like, what the hell? What do we do?
So check this out. Let's put this in a situation that I feel like a lot of these fucking top creators, I only call them this because that's what they were considered at AnimalCon, even though they're not really top all around, but they are literally top in creating YouTube, right? So let's talk about these numbers that you're seeing, but let's talk about they were actually paychecks. Like, let's talk about they were actually things that are getting paid to you. And I feel like that's when people that's when they start fucking, I don't want to say give them an excuse, but when it comes to the money, bro, everything changes. And these fucking people who are hanging in there making stuff on YouTube with animals, when this shit first started, they were making a killing, bro. Like, stupid money. Like, I'm talking like FaZe Clan fucking gaming type money, But obviously, there's somebody in the YouTube world that's pro Peter or some shit, and shit's going to a different direction. Things are not happening the way they are, but that's why it's even harder for people to stick around. That's why the extremist influencers are doing what they can to grasp, because that money is not there no more. You know what I mean? Think about the life states that they try to sustain now after making that money, and then now they don't have that money no more. And the animals they have too.
I've never made a dime on YouTube, Instagram, any of that stuff.
It ain't much.
And I don't care. It was never part of my goal. I've had several people say, hey, you need to start a Patreon. You know, you'll get paid. I said, I don't care about that. That's what you're not understanding. I do this because I want to do this.
Right.
And
paid or not, doesn't matter.
And I do this to help other people, you know, to succeed. I've made a lot of mistakes in 20 years, I promise you. And all of my mistakes I can fix with you. You know, you come to me and you say, hey, I want to do this, I want to do this, and I'll help you, you know, and I'll do it to where you won't make the same mistakes I did. You know, you won't be making, you know, possible hits that are not possible hits because you bought hits to start with and that were normals. I mean, it is what it is. But, and I think, that, you know, going back to a question you had earlier about buying hits, I think a lot of it is so many people have heard about the horror stories on heads, and they're afraid to buy heads from just anybody.
Because head can stand for getting fucked.
But if you put your name out there in the right way and people trust you, they're going to buy whatever you have.
But then also, too, check this out, Earl. There's something that's happening that's so good for all of us purchasers out there, and that's the fact that we can simply see the pairing. You know, it's so easy to fucking tell somebody these are double het clown pies, you know, back in 2010, and like, you know, there's no, you know, you're not going to ask questions. Give it to me. Here's the $10,000. But now it's like, well, let me see the parents. And you got to understand, Earl, a lot of stuff that people have that are relevant, like meaning the shit that's like, pow, it's coming from the most top motherfuckers in the game. You know what I'm saying?
I think a lot of that started with the Red Ball project.
The Red Ball, the fraud project?
Yes.
That was, I think I had just came in when that thing was being advertised. 2016, 2017, right?
So you
From
had,
Europe?
Yeah. So you had people that put up like $350,000 to buy these double hats. And they get over here and they weren't hat for anything, man. And, you know, there was a lot of people got screwed on that project. I mean, a lot of people went in together to get that. And so that alone started making people really stop and think about what they were doing, you know, not just jumping out there and buying stuff. Spending, you know, huge money.
It was an eye-opener. It was like, holy shit, don't be that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, because think about people, and look who's actually in the building right now. By the way, another super chat, D&T Reptiles, by the way, was in the building. Shout out to Dax. Dax just did a super chat. Now we have one of Southern California's finest fucking influencers in the game right now. Homie Josh, South Bay Reptiles in the building. And then we were talking about somebody that we are both familiar with.
Josh will be here tomorrow.
Yeah. We all know who this guy is, though. Shout out to Antoine Hood, my boy. I wish he was here. He was supposed to be here, actually.
That's one of my kids right there, man. Hey, dude, he's got my.
Come on. By the way, come on. No. You have to come say hi. You have to say hi.
That's Antoine.
Antoine wants to say hi. Uh-oh.
Why are you turning that off?
Mrs. LSR in the building right here.
Why'd you turn it off?
Because Ashley and Kyle said it was really loud.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry.
Where does this go?
She just, plug it back in the wall right there.
You know, no. You got that? I should have said that because I had a couple people say, "Can you stop the crickets?" Hey, but I thought it was tuning me into this and not hearing that. I actually enjoyed it, to be honest, but it's all good. Dear, thank you so much.
What that is, guys, is so this room, it has a surround sound system in it, and it has waterfalls and birds chirping, and
it goes with the room.
It goes with the room.
I do too. I've had
very, very.
I had people bitch because my boy Socrates. Shout out to my boy Socrates, Ellie Max of Boreals. He has an Amazon thing, and just plays natural jungle noises.
Yeah.
And I started doing it just because I felt like, all right, it just sets the vibe for the room. But boy, did my fucking followers hated it. They go, dude, I can't stand that. I'm like, well, I don't give a fuck what you can't stand. This is for me. So you know what I mean? And But you know, it did. I'm not gonna lie. There was times where I'm like, I need to just go through this. But after a while, it becomes therapeutic. Like I'm used to that background noise where it didn't affect me, didn't affect us at all. You know what I mean? So, by the way, sorry guys, we turned it off. We're good. We're just getting things started. Antoine Hood, thank you so much for your fucking super chat. But Antoine Hood, what a guy. So I'm bringing Antoine Hood up for a reason, because that's somebody who came into the game in 2010. A lot of people don't know that Antoine Hood has had a taste of this shit back in the earlier 2000s, right? And you know, he took his licks, he took his wounds, licked them, came back, but it didn't get him out of the game. It's a lot easier to set yourself up for success nowadays because of people's stories like that. All you have to do is hear about what people been through.
Well, you know, I had a conversation with somebody just recently that, you know, there's been a lot of controversy towards him, and because he spent a lot of money getting into the industry, and I don't call it a game because it is an industry, but he spent a lot of money, and he made like 10 clutches his first year and broke 6 figures. There's lots of proof of that happening. But guys, again, I don't care what industry you get into. If you're painting cars, or if you're installing stereos, if you're not investing the money, you're not making the money. And jealousy, guys, is not going to get you anywhere.
I feel like, okay, dude, let's be real about jealousy. It's okay to be jealous if it's because we're human. If it's okay to want something that you don't have, but you don't have to turn it to like, I'm gonna hate the person.
Yes.
Let me convince other people not to like this guy because he has one. And that's a very toxic, dark. Like you want to talk about digging yourself in a hole. If you're that kind of fucking jealous, because you don't think I was looking at Miguel when I was broke, bro. I met Miguel when I was fucking broke, and my wife was like, she didn't deserve to be with a broke guy, and I was like hanging on to her. And I would just have people around me like Miguel that I'm like, dude. And Miguel told me that, dude, he told me that 2 years ago I was fucking broke too. Like, and I was like, dude, all right, cool. I'm hanging there. So
Miguel, I mean, some very deep conversations, and I learned a lot about Miguel.
That guy, bro. I miss you, Miguel. Answer my calls. Sorry.
I've learned a lot about that guy, and I mean, he is a businessman, and you know, he's had some really good partners in business over the years. You know, when COVID hit, it was a detrimental hit to him. I was on the phone with him when all that was going on. And, you know, and people don't understand, you know, I mean, I've been broke. I've been homeless, bro. I lived under a bridge one time for 6 months, you know, but I pulled myself out of it and look where I'm at, you know.
I mean, think about how many fucking stories that motivate others when it comes to someone just fucking up their whole lives and getting it back together. I feel like, you know, I mean, there's people that don't have to go through that, but let's be real. Most of us have to go through that. Most of us need to be broken down to where, like, what else do we have? You know,
you have a perfect life.
Perfect in how? I mean, it depends.
I mean, I know a lot about you too.
I mean, I wake up breathing and being able to do this. I feel like, I mean, it's not always perfect.
In your past hasn't been perfect.
Oh, fuck no.
You know, I mean, mine either. But look where we're at.
Yeah,
that's what matters.
You're not your past. You're not defined as your past.
My thing is, I don't look behind me. I don't care what happened.
No time.
I don't care what happened yesterday. I care about what happens today forward.
I own what happened yesterday all day, for sure. And I feel like that's a lot of people do. Like, here, you understand there's a lot of people out there who are just like, God damn, if they were just more honest with what they're putting out, you know, like they could have a better life, but they choose to just fuck people over. They choose to just like, okay, I got this name. I could still choose to just do what the fuck I want and not have no respect on what I have. And I don't feel like you need to do all that. Like what a life to live. Like, you're living a fucking goddamn phony life.
I take pride in every single thing I do.
You should.
Dude, you look around, I built all this, you know.
When you didn't have to either. Like, you seriously didn't have to do this shit. Like, you could have just done your ball python racks and just done Earl with this fucking porcupines, and that's it.
But you know what? The ball pythons weren't satisfying enough for me, because I deal with that on a daily basis.
But you need
something else. But I need them.
Yeah, and I admit that too. They don't do enough for me, but they're my foundation.
Well,
for sure.
It's not that they don't do enough for me, because I have a lot out there that I mean, you've seen some of my animals, and they're incredible, and I love working with those animals.
Turbo don't play though.
Turbo will hurt somebody, you know. He's kind of a little ass.
Okay, the first raccoon fucking hybrid looking dude. What was his name?
That's Roscoe.
Roscoe was cool, but when I purposely saw Earl, like when I saw Earl go between the fences, hurry up and put the fence back, I'm like, okay, this ain't no Roscoe. And yeah, I mean, I saw what you had to do just to get him out, but I could tell that motherfucker has a personality. Like he's his own person. You know what I mean?
At night, I go out there and he'll lay down and I play with him. And, he's great. But when it's feeding time, dude, it's food. That's all he thinks
Right.
about. So, he's very food motivated. Roscoe's just kind of chill. He don't care. He's the do as you walk across the yard. Turbo, he's 100 miles an hour all the time.
So I want to kind of turn the pages back a bit. On the way over here, shout out to my boy Dave Levine, Natural State Exotics, in the building, hanging out with Bill Stiegel in the living room. But yeah, you were on TV, or there was something with you in television, some sort of documentary or something. Can we talk about that? Because I have no idea what the fuck this is. I want to validate it.
I worked on Walker, Texas Ranger for 4.5 years.
Whoa!
I started my filming career at 18.
What? Dude, I forgot about that show, bro. Are you kidding me?
So after Walker, Texas Ranger went off the air, we were still filming Walker. We started filming a new spin-off series called Sons of Thunder. I did 9 episodes of that, the pilot episodes. It never left anywhere. So when Walker died off, believe it or not, guys, I actually had hair at one time. So I did hair commercials for several years. And I had hair down to my waist. And when it started to thin a little bit, I took the clippers to it and we were done.
So you're like, why bother?
Yeah, it's just.
I gotta say, people who try to rock hair and this is gone.
No.
It's like, bro, you look like Tales of the Crypt. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. Oh, and I love that guy too.
Oh.
I love that guy. Yeah, I love that guy. That was one of my favorite shows growing up.
That fool really kicked the fuck out of
And
me.
you know what's bad is you know that show, and you're way too young to know that.
No, I mean I'm 37, bro. So
Oh,
I mean that was a prime television
Yeah.
show back in my day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It was HBO only.
HBO, man.
But no, so then I got into, I did stunt work and stuff on Walker, Texas Ranger mostly. And I did some acting, but I never did like the acting side. So then I got into the animal handling side of things, and we've done like Darkness, and Man vs. Wild, stuff like that. But I mainly work with venomous animals on TV. We've done movie deals. I've got one snake out there. She was supposed to do her second movie this week, and I refused to do it.
What was pay like for something like that back in the day?
Walker,
is it more now or is it more back then?
No, it's a lot more now. I mean, we make good money. When COVID hit, it kind of put a damper on a lot of things. We were negotiating contracts on a brand new show that we were going to be co-hosting. It would have been my first time co-hosting the show, and dude, I was nervous but excited at the same time because it was our show. Everything went to hell in a handbasket when COVID hit, and so hopefully we can start negotiating and get our show back online. But yeah, I work like with Netflix, Discovery, doing their stuff. I love working in field like that, dude. It's amazing. I've met a lot of amazing people over the years. I've faced my fears. People look at me and say, "You fear nothing." No, there's a lot of fears. Fear of heights is one of them.
Dude, tell me about it. I just went to Vegas, right? And we had an Airbnb. I think it was on the 18th floor.
Oh no!
And like every time I've stayed in Vegas, because the suicide rate's so fucking high, there's no balcony access. This was a full balcony access, and it was only up to like my stomach. And I was like,
the glass balcony.
Yes, I was like, oh.
Hey,
I was like, I couldn't fucking believe it.
Jones is
Who?
Ton Jones.
I feel like I've heard of that name.
Got all tattoos on top of his head.
Is it fucking stuntman or something?
No. It needs to be. So Auction Hunters, the TV show Auction Hunters.
Oh, yes. Okay.
He's been on Ink Masters. I mean, he's been on a lot of stuff. But Ton's like my best friend. Everybody thinks we're brothers. For those of you that don't know, he is my brother from another mother. My mother calls him her son. So anyway, we're on the 14th floor in Vegas, and he knows I'm terrified of heights. So he comes over to my room and goes, "Hey, you been out on the balcony?" I said, "Hell no. You know better than that." Dude, I start shaking when they get to the glass.
Yeah.
So he goes outside and he hangs over that glass, filming me hyperventilating. I said, "Dude, when you fall, it's going to be a big splat."
Why would he do that? Yeah.
But no, so Man versus Wild, I'm filming on the side of a mountain. We're doing a tarantula scene, right?
Oh God.
And oh yeah, I do lots
Fucking
of
hate spiders,
stuff.
bro.
And so
God, I hate
the
spiders.
helicopter comes flying over us, and he's chasing a motorcycle. And I said something to my set director. I said, "Man, that's on my bucket list." He's like, "What?" And I said, "That." He goes, "You never ridden a helo?" I said, "Shit, no." He goes, "Well, you can scratch that off your bucket list today." I said, "We don't have to do it today."
Yeah.
And he goes, "No, we're doing it today." So I get back to the set where the helicopter's at, and it's running. And this girl comes running up with a harness. She goes, "You need to put this on right now." And I was like, "For what?" And she goes, "They're waiting on you. Hurry." Well, my set director's like 100 pounds lighter than me,
Right.
and it's his harness.
Right.
And so I'm trying to get this over my fat ass legs, and
You're like, oh shit.
and at that time I was probably 50 pounds heavier than I am now. So I get over to the helicopter, and the stunt coordinator, he's like the stunt coordinator, safety guy. He says, "Get in, I'll buckle you in." And there's no seats, there's no doors on this helicopter. There's one seat, and that's the pilot.
Right.
So we're hanging out the helicopter, right? Well, I'm already terrified. So he clips me in. He goes, "Now bend over and see if you can, reach out." And I can't go nowhere. He goes, "Are you good?" I said, "Yeah." So he lifts the helicopter up, and we're sitting at about 500 feet, and I was like, "Okay, this is all right." And he goes, "Lean out." And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Lean out." And I lean, and I can't go nowhere. He goes, "Are you good?" And I said, "Yeah." And I don't know what he told that pilot, but dude, that chopper took off. I mean, it was crazy. We flew right at a mountain, and as we're going up the mountain, it's like he was trying to break from hitting the mountain. We go up, he rolls it over on the side where we're looking straight up, and then rolls it back over. We're looking straight down.
Oh my
The
God.
only thing holding you is that harness.
I
And
would have lost my fucking mind.
22 minutes of the biggest adrenaline rush I've ever had in my life.
22 minutes? How did you survive that?
Oh man, when we landed on the ground, and I was like, "Can we do it again?" He said, "We don't have enough fuel."
Yeah.
So the next morning, I get in the elevator at the hotel. We're in Henderson, Nevada, and I get in the hotel, and I'm headed downstairs, and it goes down one floor, and a guy gets in the elevator, and it's the pilot, and he goes, "So how was your helo ride?" I said, "Dude," I said, "that was awesome." He goes, "Well, I heard you were afraid of heights, so I beefed it up for you." He said, "But I want you to know this." He said, "I'm terrified of heights myself." And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "If I stand on a ledge, my knees go to knocking." I said, "Then how do you fly that chopper?" He goes, "When I get in that thing, the joystick in my hand, I'm in control. I crashed that thing, nobody else." And he said, "It's just my life." And it was incredible. My wife, so she knows my set times, and if I don't call her within 2 hours of my set time, she thinks something went wrong.
Right.
And because,
Smart
like I
lady.
said, we work with venomous, we work with dangerous animals.
Right.
So
Protocol stuff.
I was about 2 hours late calling her. And she goes, "Where have you been? I know you weren't in no damn chopper." I said, "Baby, look at your phone. I just sent you a video."
And what part of the country was this in?
In Nevada.
In Nevada. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience. And if, when people are afraid of something like that, man, face your fears. Do it. Just try it once. Buried alive is one of my biggest fears. And we work a lot underground, filming.
Fuck, that's fucking
And
nuts.
so, we've been as far as 2 miles underground.
Right.
And and with night vision on,
Right.
you can't even see, and that was a little nerve wracking at first. But man, I mean, once you get over that fear, I'm not going to say I'm just going to go dig a hole and crawl in it. What we were doing was very safe. We had to go to classes to do what we were doing.
I'm sure.
I remember one TV show we were doing, there was like 12 hours of class time ahead of time. Well, fortunately for me, I'm in the oil field, so most of that was already done. I pulled out all my cards and said I already got all that. And so
Still
yeah.
pay me though.
So it's a blast, and it paid the bills for several years, and we're like I said, we're still in it. We just don't do it as much as we used to because Hollywood's kind of shut down for the most part right now on a lot of stuff. They're starting to kind of bring some of those reality shows back, and we'll get back into it. But it's a lot of fun.
You mentioned fear, right? And fear could hit people in so many different levels. And I feel like one level of fear I want to tap in with you right now is something that you just did 2 years ago. A lot of people fear in their ability to do something on their own. and you know, meaning to say, like, do you understand there's more than one person, even though sometimes it sounds like I'm talking about one in particular person. No, it's way more than one person out there who has to wake up every day and go do something they don't want to do. Like, and then they come home to actually do work, but to them it's not work. They love it. They're like, fuck, this is like, I'm happy to be here. So to me, I'm like, God damn, imagine like if you put that effort into an all day thing, you know what I'm saying? And you really put stuff into the marketing and relationship building and stuff like that. And especially if you've been doing a 9-to-5 for a while. And at the end of the day, I feel like a 9-to-5 will eventually deteriorate people's happiness, you know, and keep them from what they want to do. So the fear of you doing this for a full time, how's that right now? Where are you at with that?
Well, so last year, September 20th, I retired, and it was I was kind of pushed into it. I got really mad. So right after the show last year, I go back to work, and we were very short-handed. I worked in the oil field. I worked 12-hour shifts, and I had filled in for a girl at night so that she could have a day off. She was the only night person we had, and she'd worked 18 days straight. So I worked one night for her so she could have a day off and be with her child. And so when I came back from the show, my first day back, it was Monday morning. For some reason, and I never did this, but I pulled up my pay stub, and it didn't add up. Nothing. I mean, there was something wrong, and I couldn't figure it out. So I called my boss, and I said, hey, my check stub doesn't add up. I know how many hours I had. You know, I was working 120 hours a week. I took off just enough time for the show, and I figured it out. Well, I had worked nights for this company for 4.5 years, and I had just went to days. I'd been on days about 6 months. And in the oil field, somebody has to die before you get off nights. I mean, it's
a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a hand-me-down thing.
So they were paying the night people $2.50 more an hour night differential. And I never got that. So potentially the girl that I trained was making about $1.50 more an hour than I was, and I've been there 5 years.
And you worked the same shifts as her.
Well, I worked days, but I worked the same shift as her for 4.5 years. But on days, she was actually making more money than I was, and she's only been there 6 months.
Shit.
And so I called my boss, and I said, we have a problem. And he said, what's the problem? I said, well, you're paying her more than me. I said, I trained her. I run this place. You know, I'm what you call the supervisor over this place. I said, how is this possible? Well, I don't know nothing about that. I said, well, I tell you what, you got 15 minutes to get somebody over here to take my place because I'm going home. He said, what do you mean? I said, what I just said, I'm going home. And he goes, are you quitting? I said, you have 15 minutes from now. You better get somebody over here. So they had the HR call me, and HR says, hey, what if we give you a raise? I said, I need $10 an hour raise right now. I said, you tell me in the next 5 minutes I got $10 an hour, I'll stay. Otherwise, I'm leaving in 15 minutes. That's all you got. And they thought I was joking, and I was driving off the property when somebody pulled up. And I called my wife on the way home, and I said, I hope I didn't just screw up. I'm getting 120 hours a week, and I make good money.
Right.
You know, I was bringing home, I don't know, 130, 140,000 a year. And I walked away from that.
Right.
And so they called me on the way home and said, hey, are you coming back tomorrow? I said, I quit. What part of this did you not understand? I'm done. And they were shocked. So I come home. I had a bunch of females that I needed to get rid of. And I called somebody and I made a deal on some females. And they called me the next week and they said, are you ready to come back to work? And I said, well, let me ask you this. I said, I made $54,000 this week. Do you think I'm coming back? And they said, I guess not. I said, don't ever call me again.
Yeah.
But my wife told me on the way home, she goes, everything will be fine. You're great. I had a good nest egg sitting back. I made enough money in the oil field that I didn't use the snake money to pay for anything.
That was all self-generated.
Yeah.
Right.
So this year I spent bukus of money remodeling my house. We started from the floors and ripped everything out of here and started over. Done
By the
all
way,
this stuff.
his front door matches his shirt. Just so you know, it ain't hard to find. Look at the star. Look at the door. You found Earl's.
That was a joke painting the door orange, but it looks incredible.
That's a permanent joke.
Yeah, it started with the wall, and I painted one wall orange, and then it just got carried away. But guys, man, the best thing I can tell you is, if you have a dream, push for that dream. Don't let anybody hold you back. I mean, seriously.
I mean, especially like, don't let something so drastic happen where you're like, fuck, because sometimes people like for me, man, like COVID happened, and the one job I had that I hated the most, like I ended up going from being a fucking sales guy to being in retail management, and it was like, what the fuck? And I had to be in charge of all these people who had no ambition. They hated life, and it was just the most miserable thing to do. And I couldn't see myself. Like, I remember telling myself, okay, man, you could do this for the next 5 years, and if your ball python shit gets where it gets, then maybe you could consider, quitting. But because of COVID and that fucking job telling me, hey, look, we can't, you're done. All I had income wise was fucking unemployment really wasn't shit, but all I had was the snake production, and I started making a little tiny money off the podcast. But the podcast was the motivation for me. Like, that was like something to see that I was like, I could be in charge of everything that I do without being miserable. Because literally, it was a job I hated so much that it was changing me as a person. Like, I was literally transforming into just being a depressed individual, bro.
I think the biggest part is having somebody to back you.
Yeah, I had my wife. Thank God. I love you, wife. By the way, Lily's at home holding it down. Dude, you just know that you have to have that, bro.
Ren is my backbone here, and
shout out to Renee.
Everybody calls her Mama Ren, because she treats everybody like her kids. It don't matter who you are. If she doesn't like you, she's still going to treat you like
Mama Ren.
Yeah. So, she backs me 100% on everything I do. And when I told her, I just walked off my job, she goes, "It's about time."
Right.
So I had retired 8 years earlier from a big oil field company. When I walked away, I had a hell of a nest egg. I sat home for 4.5 years. I was bored off my mind, dude.
Right.
I go out there, I work for 2 or 3 hours a day. I'm done. So I went to the city and I built the museum here in the city of Alvarado that I live.
Nice.
I spent 9,000 hours in 2.5 years working on that place for free because it gave me something to do.
Right.
And
it gave you a purpose.
Well, and she come home from work. The house is spotless. She got dinner every night. And then I had a hernia. I needed surgery. And the only way to do that was go back to work and get insurance. So I got a phone call one day. They offered me the right money, and I was like, I'm in. And worst decision I ever made in my life. I should have just paid cash for the hernia surgery and been done. But 4.5 years of misery because this company promised me the world and gave me nothing.
Do the runaround.
And guys, working for somebody else sucks. Especially a big corporation.
You're not valued. Think about how you're not valued, and you're just replaceable. And that's why, like, I felt like, in sales, Earl, I was like, I write my own paycheck. And like, why does my manager love me so much? Because I make them more money. And you know what I mean? So that's how that works. Like, you know what I mean? So
when I retired the first time, I was pissed off at that company. I was getting ready to quit. And the one thing I can say is don't ever quit a job until you have a job.
Yeah, that's true.
But my boss called me, and he had just took over. And he called me, and he said, "Earl, I know you've been having a lot of problems." He goes, you haven't had a raise since you've been here, and I know that. He goes, "What do you think you're worth?" And I looked at him, and I told him, I think I'm worth at least 25. And he goes, "Okay, I'll call you back." So he called him back. He goes, "You're making $27.50 now." He says, "Is that going to keep you here?" I said, "Yeah." $27.50 working 160 hours a week.
Oh,
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
120 hours a week. We were getting. I would leave the house on Monday and not come home till Thursday, Friday, and it's 40 miles.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a travel trailer on site. I just worked 24/7.
Right.
I go and take a few naps, but I was getting 24 hours a day. I'm good with that. But you can only do that so long.
I mean, eventually it has a toll on you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's like, I mean, that's why I feel like, in a sense, those 9 to 5s are a rat race. You know what I'm saying? Because nothing kind of gives you, like, here's one thing I love. you did something that has no money tied to it as far as what you want to gain from it, right? Because you already have a taste of what that is in a different room. So you're looking for stuff just to keep you happy at this point. And I feel like there's people out there, it's like keeping happy is like the last thing on their priority. Like just getting to work is a priority. Like there's people who just like force their days.
Too many people are money motivated.
But they're not even getting money. Like it's funny you say that. They're money motivated, in debt. They're living in a goddamn pit. You know,
I don't
like
have a single credit card.
Yeah.
Don't need them. Pay cash for everything. I've done that for 10 years.
Texas way right there.
I just, man, but here's the thing. If I don't have the money in my pocket, I don't need it.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, my wife tell you, dude, I walk in a dealership. Hey, if I want something, I buy it.
Right.
You know, if I don't have the money for it, hey, make the money for it. When I got the cash, we'll go buy it.
Right.
Not a big deal. When the air conditioner went out of my house, I called the company up, come out here and fix this. They come out here. I said, I'm done fixing it. Replace it. Got close to my price. There you go.
Right.
I mean, it's too easy, you know, but when you're working a 9-to-5 job, you're living paycheck to paycheck, man, you're not getting anywhere. No. You're never going to get anywhere. Sucks. Go out, grab the world by the balls and take it. That's it in a nutshell.
It's either that or they're grabbing you by the balls.
I guarantee it.
You don't want to be grabbed by the balls, male or female. I'm just saying, you don't want that shit. I want to ask one thing about you, your opinion on something, Earl. And that's because you've been in the game long enough to see a lot of things change. You know, you see social media become what it is. But one of my biggest things about going to an event like Animal Con is realizing how important it is for any breeder out there who don't know how to put out content, how important it is for them to go to events like that. Because you got to admit, Earl, you've been established. You know what I mean? Like even like you said, I feel like you're not in a rush to want to get known because you feel like you've been known in your own circle. You know what's going on. People know what's going on with you. But for the person who's just coming now into this game, it's not as easy. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to put in your years, right?
Yeah.
But with social media, you have these different tools. I feel like YouTube is a huge tool that can help you really get your name out there because it's the day of television. Like nobody fucking has cable where I'm at now. Everyone watches YouTube or some sort of streaming app. So what's your opinion as far as, you know, not you in particular, but anybody new in this implementing YouTube into their game plan?
It's a must. And the problem is, I think I could have built my platform a lot bigger had I started earlier. But when you buy your first couple animals, start doing videos. Yeah. Even if it's just, you know, cleaning a few cages, go to the zoo, shoot videos. Let people know what you're into, you know, and build your business with your channel. But do it organically. Don't be fake. There's not another Steve Irwin out there, guys. And
there never will be.
And quit trying to be Steve Irwin.
Fucking lose the bullets.
You know, I mean, I love Steve Irwin to death, man. That guy was awesome. You know.
Yeah, you know, I fucking also love fucking Elvis.
You know, I mean.
There ain't never be another Elvis either.
No.
God bless the king.
You know, I mean, but people try so hard to make people like them. Dude, you either like me or you don't.
Right.
You know, and
here's the thing, people aren't gonna, I mean, no matter how good you are, and this is why I was like, God damn, you go, like, no matter how much you are nice to these people, someone's gonna talk shit no matter what. And he always knew that, but it's like,
here's the thing. I know I'm fat and sexy. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's my thing. That's my thing. Now, I mean, if it's one thing, I feel like a lot of people aren't doing enough, and you know, this will actually be a wrap-up question before we get to the hot seat questions. Is, you know, there's so many people out there, Earl, who are so complacent. Like, you know, they have their projects, they have their ball python stuff, but they don't do what this is. Like this right here, I feel like is stimulating shit in your brain. Like you're creating thoughts in your head probably that you've never thought. And I'm curious how important you feel like that is to anyone out there who's been breeding ball pythons for a long time who don't feel like it's enough.
You know how many hours I sat on the floor putting shit in these cages, taking it back out, trying to make this what it is. And then I come in here and all I can look at is how can I make this better the next time around, you know? Right. But I don't want to make it better for me. I want to make it better for these animals. You know, these animals are sitting here staring at us right now. You know,
they're very bold. Yeah. They're like, hey, why are the lights on right now?
Yeah. But it is amazing to come in here and see what you've created for these animals. I didn't create this for me. You know, I wanted a better environment for these animals. moving forward, I would like to see a little better environment for, say, even the ball pythons. The drawback to that is you've got so many of them, it's hard to get them out of the racks. And,
Very true.
you know, to have enough room to do something like this, I mean, we're going to do some ball python cages like this. We're going to have different animals, but to do everything that you're breeding, you know, you got to understand that's business, you know, now. This is just, man, this is where I come in here and just relax at night.
Yeah.
You know, especially when the lights go out, I can come in here and watch these lizards run around.
And he has his natural jungle noises on. Fuck you, haters.
Yeah.
No, I mean, because listen, I mean, dude, you gotta understand when you challenge, when challenges enter your life, like when you're doing things that throw you out of your fucking loop, that's how things really evolve. I feel like that's how things just bring new chapters into your life altogether. And I don't know, man. Like you said, you come into this room for a reason. You come sit on this floor because it does something to you. But then you take that energy to your next snake room, like you know, to your people you talk to. Like you're like, oh man, I was just in my room for a little bit, you know, I feel fucking good, you know, like. And I feel like people need to go reach that more. They need to find that. They need to find their zen.
Well, this is kind of a two-part deal because not only are we doing something brand new in with these red-eyed Crocs skinks by colonizing them, but when people walk in here, they see what they can do with their own stuff. So many people go out and buy this little piece of crap cage from PetSmart. It's worthless as tits on a warhog. They throw a light on the top, a rock in it, and they call it a cage. Dude, that's shit.
Yeah.
This is art, you know, and take the time, do it right, and give your animals what they want. I mean, chondros, I love chondros. I think that if I was going to do snakes in a big cage like this, it would not be chondros. It would
God
be
bless your
venomous.
heart. Because I mean, listen, I mean, I think a well-established chondro would do great in a cage like this. But I feel like, you know, I don't know why do that.
I would bring in squams if I was going to do something like that.
I mean,
you know?
there's a bunch of different things that could cohab and really do really great in something like this versus just putting one animal and it's like, okay. But I mean, here's another thing too, man. If you put me in a room full of cages like this with chondros in it, I ain't gonna be mad. I mean, if you're doing it right, but understand that you better have your maintenance on point. You're talking about this is an everyday thing in here.
Oh yeah,
and it's no joke, you know.
No,
and a lot of people don't understand that what comes when it comes to bioactive or just having live plants or anything in enclosure. People think, oh, there's mites on my snake. Well, you know, it'll go away. No, motherfucker, that whole thing's fucked. You know, you got to kill that whole enclosure. I've even had help people who've had mites in a bioactive, and they got so mad when I told them, you got to gut all that. And like, oh, you're just fucking hating. No, okay, fine. Go live with your mites. I don't give a fuck.
This is at least 2 to 2.5 hours a day, first thing in the morning.
Right.
And, you know, I do it between 3 and 5 o'clock in the morning. And then I go back to bed. I ain't gonna lie. I'm old.
Feels good.
I gotta take naps.
I'm not gonna lie. I've had naps is my fucking life. Like sometimes I'm like, yo, MJ, you know you don't need a nap, but I'm like, you know, who's gonna stop you, motherfucker? Take one. Who gives a shit? And I'm not gonna lie, man. That one nap usually it's about like 1:30 to 3. I wake up like around 3:15, and dude, I work my ass off again till like 9 o'clock. I have like a second wind of energy, and I wake up so fucking early, bro. Like I'm up at like 4:15.
Well, you gotta understand. There was nothing in this room 6 weeks ago.
Wow.
This all went together in a short amount of time. And I mean, I was blowing and going trying to get this done. This was a challenge. My wife, I was barely going to finish the house.
Right.
And, you know, I did all the trim work in here myself. I did everything except the floors. And for those of you who don't know, getting trim right now is a nightmare. Nobody has the trim I bought. So,
well, wood's barely going down in price in my area.
Well, it was a rush to get the house done, and then she threw this on me. She wanted these big cages, and
Mama
I was
Ren?
like, "Oh yeah,
Mama Ren,"
and I was like, "Bet that, let's do it." You know, so I get the guy on the phone. I tell him, "You got a week to build my cages," and he's like, "Okay, no problem, Earl." And brand new cage builder that I'd never met before. You know, did everything I ever asked for. And then some, even to the light hangers on the top that are all custom.
Okay, so I'm gonna actually get some film on that because I wanted to kind of zoom in on how fucking innovating that is. Like that's basically.
I drew that on a bill on my kitchen table
That's awesome, bro.
and sent it to him and says, hey, can you make these? Because she told me do not put chains hanging from my ceiling.
Right.
And I was like,
So
okay.
is what's hanging down to is that just a
I've got a hook in them.
Okay, got it. All right.
I screwed a hook into the PVC and then hung the lights on.
Wow.
And so, yeah, he made those for me. And the only thing he changed was he made them a little longer on the bottom to get 2 screws in. I had 1 screw in the design.
Well, one thing I didn't ask you though, and I want your honest opinion, and you could be honest because a lot of people are capable of just fucking diving into something like this. How much research went into this? Like before you actually, I mean, be real.
These cages were about 2 years in the making.
Oh, okay. Damn.
Because first off, nobody had ever, colonized these red-eyed Croc skinks before. And without Ryan pushing me to go ahead and try it, I probably wouldn't have done it quite as early. Now, I can tell you this. With all the Croc skinks, we never saw them in their individual cages. Once I did this, we see them moving every night. They're out and about having a good time. The babies are playing. They're breeding because I'm finding eggs. I wish I'd have done this 5 years ago. But I didn't have the guts to do something that innovated where, everybody said it could be done. They just kill each other. They won't just kill each other. Think about this. They're not in pairs in the wild. They're colonies.
They're already out there together.
So why couldn't we do it in captivity? The biggest thing is you have to give them room. Well, not everybody can afford a 6 foot by 30 by 30 cage. You got to have lots of hide. That thing has 12 different hides in it.
I mean, these are nicely done.
These hides right here, they're solid granite, dude. They weigh 20 pounds a piece. Right. The one sitting right beside you on the floor is going to be in the auction Saturday night.
This rock right here?
Yeah. That's a giant. That weighs almost 30 pounds.
Wow, that's heavy. Okay, that's a good one right there.
It's almost 30 pounds. I mean, but it's wide open in the front. It'd be perfect for, some snakes or, so we're putting that in the auction. I don't know. And US ARC has been a big part of this too, because I want people to see what is capable.
Let them know. Let them know real quick. Let them know.
US ARC. I'm a permanent member.
This guy right here is really about it, man. And there's people out there who uncheck the dollar mark. Hey, Bill Stiegel. There's people who uncheck the dollar mark when it comes to shipping. Huh? Yeah. What do you need? Anyway.
The glass would be empty.
But dude, that's Die Hard right there. I ain't gonna lie.
Dude, US ARC is the biggest fighter we have, man. I can tell you this: if it wasn't for US ARC, we wouldn't be here today because all of our rights would be gone already. And
shout out to Phil Goss and the whole US ARC team. Vanessa, we love you, Vanessa.
If they ever start a chapter of US ARC in Texas, I'm here. I'm telling you, I'll be a part of it.
I mean, why shouldn't every state have a chapter?
I honestly think they should.
At this point, it's smart. And another thing to capitalize on the permit thing, yeah, I think that's a fucking good idea. Because we need to be in Texas.
I work with the state of Texas a lot on permitting, and nobody wanted to listen to me. I've been talking about this for years. And there's a lot of people out there that don't want any regulation, and I get it.
Well, it's because what do you have to hide, though?
But here's the thing. If we self-regulated years ago, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in now.
This is our fault.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've done this. The people
I'll
that
tell you
don't
one
want to
place,
do it right, they've pushed the government to step in and regulate.
There's one place that will never regulate, and that's why it's a sinking ship, and that's Florida. And we don't want to be Florida. It sucks to have to say that because I got so many loved ones in Florida, and they have amazing collections, some of the nicest, but literally that's one place that will never get regulated. We don't want to be that. If we could fix that before we could get to that point, because you can't, dude, Florida's just not going back. You understand, it's bad, and anything in that vicinity, it's fucking not good.
Well, and that's another reason why I started doing these other species of animals is because, man, nobody works with, you're starting to see red eyes a little more.
I barely just saw them at the last Las Vegas Reptile Super Show. Ryan McVeigh, shout out to the homie Ryan, was schooling me on them about how you could keep them in groups and whatnot, and how they fucking literally raise up the babies together like parents. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. So for me to walk in and see that you're doing it,
they're a lot like birds. When they hatch out, the mama and dad will chew up food and put it in their mouth. And then in about 6 weeks, they kick them out of the house and say, you're on your own.
Bro, yeah, birds and lizards are the same. Can we just admit that already? I mean, who's
A
going
lot
to
of
want to
ways.
dispute that at this point? They're exactly the same. Jurassic Park was the first piece of evidence.
This is Jurassic Park right here.
Yeah, I get it. This whole room.
That lizard right there inspired those things on Jurassic
I was
Park.
very okay. I'm not gonna lie. Rest in peace, Forrest Fanning. He was definitely the one that like made me be like nose in the air about ball pythons. Like, okay, I get it, but you're really not that sick if you breed ball pythons. There's so much other cooler shit that you can be doing, right? And that's why I felt that type of way with chondros and emeralds, because a lot of people, they dabble in it, they go fucking south. And you don't think I have chondros in the freezer? I went through it too, but I fucking stuck it out, and now I'm in a good place. But what changed everything, Earl, and I'm sure this is where you're at, was the monitors, man. The fucking lizards. I have when I got my Bell Phase lace monitors, like the way they just know you're in the room, and the way they just know it's feeding time, and then just like how they, I don't want to say, I can't say sit here and be like, oh, they appreciate me, but there's some sort of connection. Like there's something where like, now my green tree monitors, whole another level. They're fucking wild. My laces, I'm telling you, they're like dogs.
Dude,
It's fucking nuts.
this
And to
guy-
see it with these,
I
it's
walk
nuts.
in here with crickets or worms.
It's game time.
He jumps to the bottom.
It's
Waiting on me.
very comfortably. Yeah.
You know, I mean, he'll get out on my arm and eat off my arm. You know, I work with venomous in the next room over. And, dude, that's another room that is nice to walk in there and just listen to them
Oh,
rattle.
that's your office right there.
Dude, I
What
do
a
all my
place.
editing right there, and I got all that noise in the background, and it's amazing. You know, we breed Gilas.
Yeah.
This will be my first year, you know, getting Gila eggs. Dude, I'm super excited about that. I hate the fact that it takes so long to incubate them, but you know,
I mean, and they're a lot cooler temps. So what are you going to do with the, you have an incubator for them? You have something
Oh, yeah.
separate?
yeah, we have several incubators here.
I mean, there's been people who just, they let them hatch in the ambient in their room. Like
Yeah.
they keep their room at 77, which is, I mean, one of the highest respected breeders on all levels that's out there, in my opinion, is Ryan Young. And Ryan Young has one big closet as an incubator, and he breeds over 20 species of pythons. So he has all these different species hatching with different temps, right? So I asked him, I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? And he's like, well, it's 76 on the floor. It's about 80 here, 80, but all the way up to it's like 90 something. And I'm like, holy shit. And it's like, just like rocket science. You know what I mean? And overcomplicating things is like the fucking worst recipe for anyone getting into this. Like you were saying, fucked up setup from Petco, a heat lamp, cooking your animal. And listen, it's nothing against, I was that guy in the beginning, dude.
Dude, I get people call me all the time. I got a ball python and it won't eat.
Yeah.
Well, can you send me pictures of your setup? And I see this giant heat rock right in the middle of the cage. It's like, why is a heat rock in it?
Right.
Well, that's what Petco sold me. Well, Petco's stupid. Quit using Petco. Find you a local breeder and
Right.
talk to them. You know, do some research. When I brought any one of these animals in, you think I didn't do research first? I don't just grab an animal and then say, okay, now what I need to do. You know, I research everything before I bring them in.
These are, I mean, like I said, guys, please tap into the vlog, but these cages are done really right. Like I gotta say, like these are like, I feel like Ryan came in here and did this.
Ryan hasn't seen them yet.
Ryan, you're gonna be very impressed. I gotta tell you right now.
Ryan hasn't been here yet to see him, and you know he was a big inspiration on a lot of stuff. I mean, all the lighting's his. I don't even know if the lighting is placed properly. He's gonna let me know that when he gets here. I promise you. But you know, I feel like I did it all right, and you know, I'm sure you know, like guys. Eventually, it's not done yet, but all these cages will have live stream cameras. As well as the next room over, we're redoing.
Which VivTech provides. VivTech has webcams. They
Yes.
also provide a bunch of awesome stuff like sensor push type things, which gives you the updates on temps, humidity.
Now, we
Awesome
don't
stuff.
use that from VivTech because I was sponsored by Sensor Push years ago, and Sensor Push has been a big part of this. There's 2 sensors in every cage.
Okay.
Actually, 4 sensors in the big cages, and then 2 in each one of these. You know, at every auction, people know I put Sensor Push stuff up in the auction. Sensor Push has been a big part of what we've been doing for the last, I don't know, 4, almost 5 years now.
Okay.
So
Respect.
Ryan told me, hey, you know, I'm good with that. You know, let me do the lighting and stuff. And I Ryan's like family, you know.
Yeah, I love
and,
Ryan.
So yeah, this has been a really big deal.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to move forward. But so what I was saying is you'll be able to go to our website in time and click on live streams, and you'll be able to click on any cage we have and see exactly what we're seeing at that point.
That's epic.
So it's going to be kind of cool. We wanted to make everything we're doing interactive with.
You want to share it because if it's one thing that I like, Earl, you're well known for it's Friday. You go to fucking Big Earl's. It's showtime. It's pre-party time, right? Because in which, by the way, I host something once a year. It's fucking not easy. Okay,
No, it's not.
Like, hey, god damn, you know what I'm saying? I think we want to talk about a wild time Trap Fest. Which you're coming to Trap Fest next year. I'm gonna make sure you and Mama Ren come to Trap Fest. But my Trap Fest ended with me, Ryan McVeigh, Brandon Wheeler taking shots and just talking about fucking some sort of husbandry technique we could all be using at like 6 a.m. Like I'm like, yo, we gotta go to bed, bro. And like literally, I look around, there's cups everywhere. So I'm just like, as much as it's fun, it's work. But you gotta, it's because you want to share it. Like I love that I got to share everything with people. Like,
People ask me, what time's the party over? When the last person leaves.
That's it.
And
Ryan McVeigh does not stop talking.
No. Dude, the last party, we're sitting there on the back porch at 3 o'clock in the morning with venom snakes cruising all over the porch.
Fuck, bro, what a time.
We're taking them out, playing with them out on the back porch.
Man, well, listen, this was a great pre-party to what's to come tomorrow. NARBC Arlington, man. What an amazing time. But we're not done, man. We have hot seat questions for you, Earl. Are you ready for these hot seat questions?
We'll give it a shot.
Okay, here we go. Guys, we're going to get these hot seat questions for LSR right now. Let's get the last minute super chats going for Earl. But here we go, Earl. Hot seat questions coming in hot. Do your best to just shoot these answers out as quick as you can because that's the name of the game, all right? You ready?
Yep.
Hot seat questions for the homie LSR. Frozen Thought or live?
Live.
A cut or no cut?
Huh?
A cut or no cut? Would you cut an egg or would you not cut an egg?
Oh, I cut.
On what day?
Well, I wait till they dip, and then I cut.
Okay. Red chondronial, yellow chondronial.
Yellow.
Retic or no retic?
I love retics, man.
Pre-first shed meal, post-first shed meal.
Do it.
Pre-first shed meal or post-first shed meal?
I'm not understanding that.
So would you feed a snake before its first shed or would you feed a snake after its first shed?
Oh, no, after.
Yay imports or boo imports?
I love imports.
One reptile you would import to your collection anywhere around the world, what would it be?
Manchang.
One reptile nobody should ever import. Leave it alone. Don't touch it.
Mambas.
To spray a reptile, any reptile, or not to spray?
I don't spray.
Okay. Sports or no sports?
I don't do sports. I'm fat.
Yay alcohol or boo alcohol?
I don't drink, but
Big flexor or no flexor?
I don't care about flexing.
Steak or fish?
Man, steak.
Van Halen or Sammy Hagar?
Oh, Sammy Hagar, bro.
Wow, we got a first time Sammy. Okay, somebody else said Sammy, but respect to that. I mean, Sammy's a partier, so I mean, I can see why you
Sammy
said
Hagar is badass.
yeah. West Coast rap or East Coast rap?
I don't do rap, man.
If you had to pick a coast, what would it be?
I'd probably go West Coast.
All right, little word association. First thing to come to mind. Milk.
Shake.
I love it. Cocoa.
Fat.
Yeah, cocoa.
Ice cream, man.
Egg box.
Egg box. Setting up snakes.
Day 60.
Cut.
Stuck shut.
Soap.
First time ball python breeder.
Do your research.
One codon you would never use into your projects.
Ooh, spider.
One recessive you want to use in your projects. Instagram trolls.
I don't pay attention.
Number one reptile show you've ever been to.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Arlington, NARBC.
If it came down to getting rid of one platform forever, and I mean forever, never coming back, is it Facebook or Instagram? Okay, he's done his homework.
I've already gotten rid of it.
Oh my God. Listen, Earl, pleasure. Thank you so much. And again, shout out to Kevin and Brad Boa Reptiles. I appreciate you guys so much for sponsoring this episode. We had well over 80 people tapping in for this show. What do you have to say to everyone who was watching this episode?
Hey guys, thanks for everything, and come check us out on Instagram and YouTube, man. We're here just to have fun.
And most than likely, be at the show.
Be at the show.
So if you're in Texas, it's definitely fucking
And
cool.
if you're gonna be at the show, you got to be at the auction, dude. We have something really, really special going in the auction this year. So
I mean, can we talk about the people who have gone to shows and don't go to the auction? How much they're missing? Like, I mean, you
Man,
gotta
dude.
go. Like even vendors. I've talked to vendors who go, "Nah, it's not my thing." Dude, make it your fucking thing. It's fun.
find a babysitter, leave the kids at home. It's not kid friendly.
It's not.
It is a blast. You will have a ton of fun. Even if you don't spend any money, just go in there and just watch it. It's amazing.
I mean, if you want to talk about just having a good time with some good people, talk about the marketing you have behind it. You could be sitting at a table with somebody who could just make your life a whole fucking different ballgame, man. And again, thank you so much for everyone watching this episode. Thank you, Earl. I appreciate everyone supporting this. And Earl, I will see you tomorrow for sure at the show.
Sure.
Thank you. We're out, guys. Have a good night. Cheers.